in there. If they were wearing inappropriate clothing, for example, if you're outside in a light jacket, you could probably freeze to death in less than an hour.
I sleep behind the dumpster because you stay out of the wind.
It was freezing cold. I couldn't handle it.
Lots of blankets, bottom line. Lots of blankets. And just as you see me dressed, that's how I sleep.
So this is my little tent for now. I just need this lighter to get warmed up.
We don't need to be put down or called names because we're just all human. We all just need a helping hand.
If your life depended on finding warmth tonight, should a missing ID decide whether you survive? In Chicago, that question isn't hypothetical. Every winter, as Arctic winds sweep through the city, people experiencing homelessness face more than freezing temperatures. They face paperwork, lost documents, and confusing systems that can stand between them and a warm place to sleep. This is not simply a story about winter. This is a story about how bureaucracy can become another layer of danger. Welcome to Homeless in America. Chicago has long been known as the city of big shoulders, a city built by workers, strengthened by resilience, and defined by neighborhoods that have weathered generations of change. Every winter, its skyline rises above frozen streets as millions of residents hurry between heated homes, offices, trains, and restaurants. Life continues despite the bitter cold. But for thousands of people without a place to call home, winter follows a very different set of rules. When temperatures plunge below freezing, every decision becomes a calculation of survival. Where can I stay warm? How long until the next bus arrives? Is this station open all night? Will there be room at the shelter? And perhaps most heartbreaking of all, will I be allowed inside? Most of us think of extreme cold as a battle against nature. Yet for many people experiencing homelessness, the greater challenge is navigating a maze of requirements that can feel impossible after losing everything. A stolen wallet, an expired identification card, a missing birth certificate, or simply not knowing where to turn can transform a life-saving service into another locked door. They are not refusing help. They are trying to find it, while carrying burdens most of us never have to imagine. In today's documentary, we travel through Chicago during one of its harshest realities, not to measure winter by snowfall or wind chill, but by the invisible barriers that separate vulnerable people from warmth, dignity, and safety. We'll explore how administrative hurdles, lost identification, and fractured systems can become life-threatening when every degree below freezing matters, while also meeting the outreach organizations and compassionate individuals working tirelessly to ensure that no one is left to face the cold alone. If these stories move you, subscribe now. Together, we can turn statistics into faces, policies into lived experiences, and moments of hardship into opportunities for compassion and hope. Part 1. The Cold Countdown. Surviving Chicago's Deadly Winter Cities. Every year, Arctic air sweeps across Lake Michigan, driving temperatures well below freezing and turning ordinary streets into places where even a short walk can become painful. For most residents, the cold is an inconvenience, met with heavy coats, heated homes, and a warm cup of coffee waiting inside. But for people without shelter, the same weather becomes a countdown, measured not in hours, but in body heat. Regional estimates show that more than 18,000 people across the Chicago area experience homelessness in some form each year. Behind that number are fathers, mothers, veterans, young adults leaving foster care, and older workers whose savings disappeared after illness, injury, or rising housing costs. Statistics can feel distant, until we remember that every single number represents someone searching for a safe place before nightfall. Winter magnifies every hardship. Cook County records cold-related deaths almost every year, and people experiencing homelessness are among those facing the greatest danger. The threat isn't only the freezing temperature itself, it is the exhausting series of decisions that come with it. Should you keep walking to stay warm, or save your strength? Should you wait for a shelter bed that may already be full, or take your chances on a train that won't run all night? Consider a former warehouse worker who spent decades loading trucks before a serious injury ended his career. After losing his apartment, his wallet disappeared while he slept on public transit. Inside was every document proving who he was. Overnight, finding warmth became more complicated than escaping the cold itself. This is not simply a story about winter weather. This is a story about how a single missing document can become the first link in a chain of barriers. And to understand why that chain is so difficult to break, we must look beyond the freezing streets and into the systems that shape life after homelessness begins. Part 2. Beyond the Cold, the Invisible Barriers of Survival. To understand this crisis, we must look beyond the freezing temperatures and see the invisible obstacles that often determine who finds safety and who remains outside. Many people imagine homelessness as a single bad decision or a lack of effort, but the reality is far more complex. They are not irresponsible. They are trapped inside a system where one loss often triggers another. A missed paycheck leads to unpaid rent. An eviction forces someone onto the street. A backpack is stolen while they sleep. Inside that backpack are an identification card, a social security card, medical records, and the documents needed to rebuild a life. Suddenly, the problem is no longer just finding a warm place for the night. It becomes proving who you are. Replacing a government-issued ID is rarely as simple as filling out one form. It can require supporting documents that were also lost, transportation across the city, processing fees, mailing addresses, or appointments that are difficult to keep when survival depends on finding food and warmth each day. Every missing document creates another delay, and every delay becomes more dangerous when Chicago's winter temperatures plunge below freezing. This is not a personal failure. It is a system where administrative requirements can move more slowly than the weather. For someone already carrying the weight of trauma, mental illness, or chronic health conditions, navigating multiple offices, deadlines, and paperwork can feel overwhelming. A process designed for people with stable housing becomes nearly impossible for someone who has nowhere safe to store documents or charge a phone to receive updates. The result is a devastating cycle. Without identification, securing employment becomes harder. Without employment, housing remains out of reach. Without housing, replacing lost documents becomes even more difficult. Each barrier reinforces the next, creating a loop that grows tighter with every freezing night. And behind every policy, every form, and every requirement is a human being asking a simple question: where can I be safe tonight? That question becomes even more urgent when we step into the everyday lives of the people living through this reality. Part 3. Faces in the Freeze. The daily fight for dignity and survival. No one is born with a dream of sleeping on the street. Long before someone becomes a face we pass without noticing, they were living a life that looked remarkably similar to our own. They held jobs, celebrated birthdays, worried about paying bills, and made plans for the future. Homelessness rarely begins with a single decision. More often, it is the final chapter in a long series of hardships that slowly closed every other door. Imagine the young mother who fled an abusive home, carrying nothing but her daughter and a small backpack. She didn't leave because she had a plan. She left because staying meant accepting more violence. In the rush to escape, birth certificates, identification cards, and family records were left behind. Now, each winter day is divided between protecting her child from the cold and trying to replace the documents needed to start over. Safety became her first priority. Bureaucracy became her next battle. Morning arrives long before sunrise. People wake early, not because they are rested, but because they must move before sidewalks, transit stations, or public spaces become crowded. They search for a hot drink, charge a phone if they still have one, and ask outreach workers where warmth may be available that day. Every hour is spent solving immediate problems, while hoping tomorrow will not bring another setback. Night is even more uncertain. Temperatures continue to fall as the city lights reflect off frozen streets. Every decision carries risk. Should they remain on a train until the final stop? Wait outside a shelter already near capacity? Or keep walking, simply to prevent their bodies from growing dangerously cold? There are no easy choices, only different forms of uncertainty. For many, everything they still own fits inside a single backpack. It holds medication, family photographs, extra socks, important papers, if any remain, and small reminders of the life they once knew. It is more than luggage. It is a portable home, a filing cabinet, and a memory box carried through one of America's coldest cities. Yet, even in the middle of that struggle, there are people working to unlock doors that once seemed permanently closed. Part 4: Locked Doors and Guiding Lights. Overcoming the bureaucratic maze with compassion. The greatest barrier to escaping homelessness is not always the lack of determination. Sometimes it is the number of locked doors standing between a person and a second chance. For someone sleeping outdoors, replacing a lost identification card should be the first step toward rebuilding life. Instead, it can become a maze of requirements. An ID may require a birth certificate. A birth certificate may require proof of identity. Applications often require a mailing address, transportation to government offices, or fees that feel impossible when every dollar is needed for food. Even when emergency warming centers are available during dangerous cold, uncertainty about documentation requirements, eligibility, or where to go can discourage people from seeking help until it is dangerously late. This is not a personal failure. It is a cage without a door. The system was largely designed for people whose lives are already stable. For those who have lost their homes, every missing document creates another obstacle, and every obstacle pushes recovery a little farther away. Bureaucracy moves at the speed of paperwork. Winter moves at the speed of the wind. Yet across Chicago, another story is unfolding, one built not on forms, but on human connection. Organizations like the Night Ministry meet people where they are, sending mobile outreach teams into neighborhoods during the coldest nights with blankets, hot drinks, medical care, and referrals to shelters and housing services. Their first question is not, "What documents do you have?" It is, "How can we help you stay safe tonight?" At Franciscan Outreach, a warm meal often becomes much more than food. It is the beginning of trust. From that first conversation comes help replacing identification, connecting with healthcare, meeting a case manager, applying for benefits, and eventually finding a path towards stable housing. Recovery rarely begins with a stack of paperwork. It begins with someone treating another human being as worthy of dignity. Sometimes the shortest journey home starts with one open door, one compassionate conversation, and one person willing to say, "You're not alone anymore." Part 5: The warmth of compassion, hope, and the journey home. Despite the hardship, Chicago's story does not end in the cold. Every year, outreach workers, nonprofit organizations, healthcare professionals, faith communities, and ordinary neighbors help thousands of people move one step closer to stability. Some reconnect with family after years apart. Others replace the identification documents they thought were gone forever. Some find employment, while others finally receive the medical or mental health care they have been waiting for. Every success begins the same way, not with a miracle, but with someone believing that another human being deserves a second chance. A former warehouse worker who once spent winter nights riding trains to stay alive now volunteers at a neighborhood meal program. He remembers what it felt like to believe no one could see him. Today, when he offers a hot meal or simply learns someone's name, he reminds them of something they may have forgotten. They still matter. Recovery is rarely a straight path. It is built one conversation, one document, one safe night, and one act of kindness at a time. A city is not measured only by the height of its skyscrapers or the strength of its economy. It is measured by how it responds when its most vulnerable neighbors stand outside in the freezing cold, hoping someone will open a door.
So, before we judge the person standing on a snowy corner, perhaps we should ask a different question. How can we build communities where warmth, dignity, and compassion are never delayed by barriers that people cannot overcome alone? If this story has touched your heart, please subscribe to Homeless in America and share this documentary with someone who believes every life has value. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What role do you think compassion should play during a winter emergency? In this moment, we offer a quiet prayer for every person experiencing homelessness in Chicago. May you find safety in the days ahead. May gentle hands reach out to you with kindness.